I love having this guest on. She tells it like it is, and we love her for it. She just got back from a adult film convention, I guess, or we could just say porn convention in Las Vegas. She goes there every year, or they try to anyways. And so she's going to be, it's a report from the field, and there's a lot of great testimonies and all that stuff. So without any further ado, let's go to for our guest today, founder of Freedom Lounge, Cindy McGill. Cindy McGill, welcome back.
Am I back?
Oh, you're still back.
I'm still floating. I know we
Yeah.
just got back yesterday. So it
Was
was
it only
quite a
yesterday
week.
you got back?
Just
Dang.
got back yesterday. I know.
For some reason, I thought it was like a week ago or something.
No, it was a full week though.
Wow.
From last Sunday to this, just yesterday. So, oh my goodness, we were there in full blown. Just had two great big spaces, and it was really kind of cool because in years past when we've had booths, we haven't always had a booth, but this year we asked, you know what, we needed the traffic to be flowing enough, but we need it to be quiet enough. So when people want to tell us a dream, or we need to talk with them or whatever, or they want to spin the wheel that gives them a wristband, of encouragement, we need to be able to hear what they say without screaming to each other,
Mm-hmm.
And we had so much favor. I was like, who gets favor
At a porn convention?
I mean, and we're not anything like them, nothing at all. In fact, I was telling you that the DJ in the hall, they've got a boom, 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 all this. And when we were walking out with all of our stuff after we broke down the booth, they said, we'd like to thank the PTA for being at the party. And I was like, oh my gosh, one of our gals, she saluted him, yes.
Parent Teacher Association.
Yeah, parent teacher, because we look like a bunch of moms, which we are.
Yeah.
And so they're like cheering us on. Actually, they weren't bothered or offended by it at all. And we had so many great encounters. The booth was full all week long. We even had people come over to help us set it up. So
for real,
yeah, we had, some people who were taller that could put the banner up for us and stuff. So yeah, it was kind of interesting. And, so it said dream interpretation. I think I sent you guys a picture so that you can show that picture.
Yeah, Eric, why don't you go
there? Yeah. So it said dream interpretation on the black part there with the couch. And then it said freedom wall, and it says pour it out. So it was kind of like sign the wall, pour it out, whatever. Don't put your name. Don't put any, a reference to yourself. Just what do you want to just get out? What do you just want to leave behind for this coming year? And so many people, I mean, we just had people just lined up to do that. And if they had questions, the interesting thing was I told the team, I said, if they have questions about what is that wall, or why do you do the wall, just say, we got this idea from Burning Man. And it was from the temple, who they go in and they write all of their heartfelt, grievances. They don't have altars. They don't go to church. They don't have a place to pour out their heart about things that have impacted them. So when we said that, we got the idea from Burning Man. Everybody was like, oh, so now.
Oh, I love Burning Man.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so we even had people who had been out there or had camps out there. They came by to greet us and say, oh my gosh, where are you located, or where's your team located, or whatever. So yeah, it kind of dovetailed right in.
Yeah. No
And
kidding.
people were not afraid. They just went right up and wrote on the wall, and felt like it was a real safe place for them to unload.
Yeah. And did it get pretty full with things people were writing?
Yeah, they kind of tried to keep it. I mean, because of the early ones, they only put like a word or maybe 3 or 4 words. And so some people, because they knew that we were watching them, or that, others were watching, or who might be filming or whatever, I think they kept it pretty short. But when they came back, or even, before they wrote on the wall, they had already unloaded what they needed to. They had already talked to one of our team members, and we've been able to, take their hand and get let them feel the presence of God, and they knew what it was. And so, yeah, we had one guy walk by. I wish we'd gotten this on camera. I don't know, maybe we did. We're just now getting back, so I don't know what we got on
Mhm.
camera, but he said, "Those people right there, they're doing the Lord's work." I was like, don't say
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
like,
We're
don't
supposed to be
say that here.
spies.
Yeah, we're
We're
supposed to be
incognito.
undercover.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he already knew it. And he's like, he's there. It was, how things have changed. We're in a shift. And so where we had to be very, very covert because of so many people that hated anything to do with God or Jesus or anything like that. And now there seems to be more of a tolerance, or maybe we've just been, this was 15 years for us being in this environment, which is a long
Well, you've been
time.
doing this for 15 years?
15 years.
Jeez
The only
Louise.
time that we didn't do it is when COVID shut it down for health reasons.
Right.
For
Yes.
health
Of
reasons.
course. Yes.
I was like, oh, that's rich.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, so yeah, so 15 years, and people know us. The ones that work, especially in the like in the products or the vendors or that kind of thing that come back year after year, they remember us. The talent, they call it talent, the girls, the young girls,
Yeah.
they pretty much age and then they get out. And we had a few of them this year who said, I'm 23 and I'm aging out. They're already wanting me to get out. I'm not getting the work. I'm not getting I'm not getting the I'm not making the money that I need to
Right.
make. And
When all the damage, though, like, I mean, with how short of a life expectancy you have in terms of like how when you're actually useful in that industry, but then the decades of trauma, if not dealt with in a healthy way, it's
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I can't even
Well,
imagine.
we did have, we had stickers, and then we had a QR code that went to the Freedom Lounge page on
Mhm.
Instagram. So we said after they gave us a dream, or they spun the wheel and got a wristband, or they wrote on the wall, or all three, or they had a real impacting encounter, they would scan the bar, and so now that we have a way to keep in touch with them and be able to say, okay, they'll question, they'll write in the little chat page or something, the message page, I guess, and they'll say, I met you there. This is what, this is, and we have the video of their dream. And so we can continue on with them. This hasn't always been available, or people weren't so ready to scan it, I guess, in the
Mhm.
years past. So this year was different. You could
Mhm.
feel it. Um, it was people were ready to get out. They said it themselves.
Mhm.
They kept bringing their friends back. They had uh, they just had such good encounters. Everyone knows to not shame them. They're
Mhm.
already full of shame.
Mhm.
They don't need that.
Mhm.
And so they knew to breathe life into them and to be accepting of them in their broken condition. And it takes a lot to go in, be there all week and watch that and see that and feel that. The atmosphere is charged with, all kinds of stuff that, as it gets
Right.
later in the day, um, it's just wild.
Mhm.
Sometimes the aisles are so full, you feel like you have to body surf to get to get to the
Yeah.
bathroom,
Amen.
right? Or something. So,
Yeah.
but all of our team was just so good. I mean, it was almost like they didn't want to leave our team. They were having such good encounters, and so many people were stopping by and bringing their friends. And I thought, this is wonderful. Like
Mhm.
they're getting um they're getting an acceptance from, they know it's God. And we would even say, well, that's my journey. I'm a follower of Jesus. We always say that. And they're okay. They don't they're that's your life. That's what you do. But the fruit of it,
Well,
the good fruit of it was there.
right. And I would imagine too, Cindy, like a lot, it seems like just in my observation of seeing a lot of these videos over the years that, when you come at it from the side of like you're meeting, you're coming at them with warmth and you're like, hey, you're not like, we're Christians. Immediately people shut down. And I think that once you have an interaction with them and they have an encounter, then when you say you'll mention God or you'll say, we're followers of Jesus, they're a lot more warm to it. Cause then I'm sure they're also like, okay, well, they were great. They're also in a porn convention. How bad could they be?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, we just have we've learned to tune a lot of things out.
Yeah.
We've trained ourselves over the years not to see things that are clearly visible to other people.
Yeah.
And so, we just don't even think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, we're here to do something. We're
Mhm.
here to communicate love and to a broken, hurting, desperate world. Um, and so we don't really pay too much attention. If we got hung up on everything we saw, we'd never be able to do anything in there.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
but people would come and they were in full costume, or they come with chains and dog collars and stuff around their neck, and somebody
As
else is
one
leading
does.
them, and we're like, what are you doing that for?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But
Yeah.
it's like spin the wheel. Let's hear the dream, and then they drop all their defenses and they'd go, "Oh my gosh, we had this happen. I've got one of them on film. They actually came and got me. It was from another booth, and they were there. They had their own booth, and they were doing a podcast. And the girl who was I guess, MC or something, of that time frame, she'd had a nightmare. So the guy came down, walking down to the booth and said, I got to have, you got to come interpret this dream. It's really troubling her. So I came in and sat in the chair and, you know, interpreted her dream. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so unflattering. I mean, everything was just, I was like, lumps. I'm like, oh gosh,
Cindy.
does anybody can you just shoot it from here? But, yeah,
Oh,
so I sat down and she told me her dream, and I've got it on video. I think I'm trying
it's up.
to.
Yeah,
Oh, is it up?
it's
It's
up.
on my
Yeah, so
Instagram.
yeah, it's on. I know it's on your Facebook. So we have both in the description, so people can go check it out. Oh, yeah, it's on IG as
Yeah.
well. It's on both. Yeah, because it's like 15 minutes long or something like that. So yeah,
Yeah. But I mean, she was leaning in. She was ready for it, the whole thing. And she wanted at the end of it, she goes, before you leave, you need to say rise. And I thought, oh, I know what that's about, right? And I said, well, yeah, you better rise up. I said, nobody's coming to get you. You better get yourself ready and rise up from the, she's like,
yeah,
I said, this is on you. You got to
yeah,
rise up, take back your life. She's like, well, that's not really what I meant, but I
you're
knew
like,
what she meant and I wasn't going
mhm,
there.
yeah,
So anyway, yeah. And so they were like, oh my gosh, we're going to get you later on down the road. We're going to get a hold of you and have you and do some dreams with our podcast, down the
yeah. Oh,
road. So,
that's awesome.
mhm.
Yeah. So before what I wanted to actually have you talk about, we talked about this a little bit backstage, but um, I guess maybe the comparison between this year and other years, specifically like the last 2 years,
Mhm.
when you would come onto the show, you would tell me about how dark and heavy it was. And,
Mhm.
but it felt different this year. So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, it did. People are ready to go. They're ready to get out.
Hmm.
That's what I noticed the most. They're like they even said, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. And I thought, wow, this is interesting that so many. I mean, and they were like kind of like take me by the hand, help me, show me what I can do to move forward or to get off this merry-go-round, of and some of them were sobbing. They were crying. I mean, there was a real difference. But, we had decided before we ever went, and we told all the intercessors and people that were praying for us, we said, we're not just going with hope, we're going with expectation. Because I just think that whatever it is, when God pours out his spirit, he pours it out on all flesh.
Right.
Okay. That's Joel 2:28. He's going to pour out his spirit on all flesh. Well, when that starts to happen, they're now waking up and they're going, I have been wasting my life. You know, I got to have something else. This is not satisfying anymore. And I think I heard that more this year than I have in any other year. So I believe that we're going to see more and more people um, disconnect from the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when they scan the QR code that we have, we're able to direct them. They're from all over the place. So we can direct them to certain places or people that we know who can then maybe possibly help them and give them more information about a new life, about how to connect with Jesus, how to be able to move forward, and God will heal them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's been the biggest problem, is that we think we have to seal the deal.
Yeah. Yes.
You can't seal the deal in a porn convention.
Mm.
I mean, you can, but only one person came back and said, I think I'm too healed. I think I'm too awake. I think I'm too clean now to go back into this. And that was the only one that we heard, but I thought, oh, that's probably going to be a statement that we'll start hearing repeatedly. I think that I've had this encounter with God, and I don't want that to go away. I want to
Mm-hmm.
know what else I can do
Mm-hmm.
to get myself into this. And our responsibility, really, our assignment has been just to love them where they're at and let Jesus take over. And our purpose this year, of course, was to lift him up. Jesus said, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men to me. So that's what we did. We lifted him up, and we have purpose in our heart to operate in love, no shame, no judgment, no condemnation. They're in there, they've gotten themselves in there for whatever reason. They're like, we're standing out, if you know what I'm saying. Like, they know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this year, because we were in such a good location, that was one thing. So that was favor. And I think we were divinely placed in
Well, it
that
looked like you
place.
guys were in kind of like a sort of an intersection. So there was like
Yeah,
a T
it
intersection.
was a T. So
Yeah.
anybody could come that way and see
Yep.
dream interpretation and the
Yep.
wall,
Perfect.
the freedom wall. And then they could come from this direction and see it too. And people were like, wait, and they did a double take. Like, what is that? And it was interesting because we don't charge
Mm-hmm.
ever. And there was a psychic in the hall, and she was charging, so much money. So we've learned over the years to have an organic giving little box or something people can give, because
Mm-hmm.
if we don't, then we get we get tongue lashed by the psychic who's charging something. But this isn't, we're not ever requiring anyone to give anything. It just goes toward our outreaches, right? And
Right.
there were people that said, I've just got to help you. You're helping so many people. I just want to give to this.
Mm.
So I think I don't know, we, not much, but you know how people give 5 or 10 or something like that.
Yeah. You
But
got
I
a
was like, wow,
pocket of change.
yeah, it was so like, it was kind of like, oh, I value what you're doing.
Yeah. Well,
And
I want to read this sandwich board that you guys had up
oh,
here. And it said free, 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 free. And so it got a menu. So you have healing oil treatments, trauma enema, freedom from masters who bait you, spiritual laxative, freedom from tormenting dreams, hairpin trigger responses, and it has freedom lounge at the bottom. But all those things are true. All of those
mhm,
things are they kind of provoke a response from people as well in that type of a community. So
mhm.
God's not offended by it.
We also had a lot of people take pictures of that.
Oh yeah.
And I think they looked at it and they were like, I'm thinking about this. Like, which one do I want?
Hmm.
Um, and some of the younger girls, they're very caught off guard. I'm going to say that. I think this year I saw a lot of young girls. Now, in the past, I've seen people that I knew were children. I
Yeah.
didn't see that this time as much. There might have been one or two, but if they're there, they get them in, they whisk them away. They're not really there for long times.
Yeah.
But um, but I do think some of the younger girls, I mean, barely 18 or whatever it might be, they were like, I don't know what I've gotten myself into. I
Yeah.
mean, I saw it on them, and they were like, I want to, I want, and mm, they were having trouble because they wanted to be able to say, I'm coming to have my dream interpreted, or I'm gonna, but they were stuck at the booth. They couldn't go anywhere. So we would go to them. And then when we went to them, they were like, nervous. Am I going to get in trouble for this? Is this something that I'm not going to be able to share? Or what is it that, I need, and you could tell they were nervous. They were nervous about being there. They were nervous about meeting people face to face. It's one thing to do, you know, sex acts on camera when
Yeah.
you've only got whatever and maybe two or three lighting person or whatever. You don't have a whole crowd of
Right.
people.
Yeah.
Then you
Thousands of
have these,
people.
then you have these, men basically that are hunting them down now, and then I think just the face to face part of it was shocking for them, and I don't think they were ready for it. And so I felt in that case that we were like a safe space.
Yeah. Of course.
We're like, we've been in here for a long time. We know
Yeah.
we're over here. We're doing dreams. We're giving you a word of encouragement, something for the future. And when you get a break, go to the bathroom or whatever, come by, spin the wheel, just introduce yourself and just get a hug or whatever. So we had so many people that way. I mean, we had a lot of young girls who did come by, and it was, I don't know, it was different. It was just a different feel. I really think that God's invading that place. I mean, if
Mm.
I had to say it, I think, and that's what we prayed for.
Yeah.
I was going with expectation. I want him to light up the dark. I want him to show up in dark places. I want him to rescue people. I want to see him come in and literally grab onto people who are ignorantly following something that is so highly destructive for them.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so yeah, there was a lot more openness, I guess would be the way to put it. I did feel the darkness, but I don't know whether it's just the atmosphere change because of everything that we're coming out of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything that we've been in for the last, what, 4 years or
Yeah.
more.
Hmm.
And whether that gave us more freedom and everything to I don't know, it was different. It
Well, and
wasn't as dark.
I think too, as you've been talking, I've been thinking about specifically because I think if I'm not mistaken, it was like 2020 and 2021 or something like that. They took a break from doing this convention, and then I think 22. I'm just basing it off of like my interactions with you, but
Yeah.
a lot of people were, stuck behind closed doors, and so it seems like if those dates are correct, those first couple of years they started doing this again, it's like just leaning real hard into all of that. And
Hmm.
but I also look at like you had a lot of people praying, and it
Oh, I
really
know.
just it like just
I
because
know.
I was kind of privy to how certain events transpired and you guys
Hmm.
being able to go, but so much favor in
Yes.
this. It was just like God kicked down all the doors, so you just had to walk, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, he did. I mean, I felt it. I did. I felt a difference this year. And I think too, because we were intentional on getting a double booth. So
mm,
we had plenty of space in order to do what we needed to do. And we even had like the head of it, like the one who sets up the whole thing. Nothing goes, no, nobody's placed anywhere if it doesn't go through her. And she came over and she's like, take that sign down and move that over here and give them this whole space here and let them have, their room that they pay for. It ended up, we think, we paid for two booths. Okay, so we paid for two together,
Mhm.
but we think that the space actually gave us more like three booths.
Come on.
But she was like, and we even went out the wrong exit, and the guards were, when we went to the bathroom or get to something to drink or something, and they said you have to go all the way around, and she was standing there and she goes, they can go, let them go out, they're fine. And so we're like, we got even secret passages, to
Yeah.
get in and out, without having to go through the crowd and walk all this way around. And but I did step outside. I think it was the third day, and there was a line for people to come in and get their tickets and their passes. It was all the way outside the front door, down the street, and down the next street.
Mm.
So there were a lot of people that came. And I thought it was interesting that they moved it from the place that they had it last year, which was Resorts World in Vegas, and they moved it to the Virgin. I thought of, what? They're having a porn convention in the Virgin Hotel.
I'm sure they thought it was really
It's
funny.
like, I know. Well, I
Yeah.
thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And but it was the old Hard Rock too, so
Mm.
we recognized it. But I do have to say there was a marked difference. Um and I mean, it still had a lot of the stuff going on, but I don't know, there was just a consciousness. It was something of an awakening, or something was happening in the whole arena, where people were like, when they stopped by, they weren't, they wanted to hang out. They wanted to talk again, or they'd stop by again, and they'd greet us from even the tea part, where they come down this way or this way. They'd greet us. Um, and I thought, that's unusual. That's, they, I don't think we've ever had that where they, you know,
Hmm.
um,
It
so,
seems like there was more warmth with you guys being there. People were more receptive than
mhm.
normal.
Yeah, they were. And so, I mean, I was happy with the whole outreach. I felt like there's a lot of people that we're gonna take a picture of the wall. We're gonna have it on my website. We're gonna have it on my social media and stuff, where people can read what people wrote. We said, please don't put your name. Just pour out your heart. Like, and then I heard of another idea from another group that goes into other adult, conventions. And by the way, I just need to say, we don't always just do this. This isn't the only thing we do. We
Right.
go into New Age. We're getting ready to do a summer solstice. Is that right?
Solstice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In Southern California in June. So we're going to buy a booth, at the New Age Fair, and that's going to be uh, kind of really easy for us. I mean, considering what we've been in, and but yeah. So oh, I forgot where I was going with this, but yeah, I just feel like there was such an openness and people were ready to receive. So
Hmm.
anyway, it'll come
Yeah.
back. It'll come back around,
Yeah.
but
You were talking about, uh, you're like, this isn't this isn't the only thing we do. That's where you kind of
yeah,
like sidestepped. But so how
yeah.
many days total was the convention then? Like, where you guys were there, where people were in a sense, was it like a 4-day convention or 5-day?
Well, you have to set up on Tuesday and get your badge. So you've got all that nonsense going on, with the vendors and with people setting up the booths, and you can feel the atmospheres. It's forming, right? So then on Wednesday is when we have to be there. And if you have a booth, you have to be there from 12 to 8. It
Mm,
has to be manned all day.
mm,
So it's you got to be there. Some chose to just wander around and invite people to come and tell them that we're there, and some people, just stayed at the booth and wanted to just work there. We always have lifesavers. They were almost all gone. We said
oh,
everybody needs a lifesaver.
yeah.
And so, yeah. So everybody takes lifesavers, and we had little oils. Um, we had a guy show up who was blind, and he even said on his name tag he was blind.
He
I
was
think his name
blind, but at a
Blind Adam or something like that. Yeah.
porn convention.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And I'm
All
like,
right.
well, that's that's interesting.
You're like, that's a first.
And I said, "Do you know where healing comes from?" And he goes, "Yes, it comes from my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ." And I was like,
Like, do you
"Well,
know where you are right now, dude? Because
that was exactly what I
I'm like,
thought. I'm like,
I need to hear you say it. Yeah.
like, what are you doing in here?
Yeah.
You can't see anything. I mean, that's not a bad thing. You hear all the stuff that goes on." And
Yeah.
he was running into everything. He was running into everything, and all the displays, and people were trying to move and make sure they didn't get knocked over, TV screen, something else. And I was like, oh gosh, I guess you just see it all, you know. And I
Yeah.
said, well, then you know, I said I need to put my hand on your head or the back of your neck. And I said, if you want to receive your sight, you know, we're just going to ask for that to happen, because I'm like into the miracle business. So I put my hand on his back, on the back of his neck, and he goes, "Oh God, I can feel that. I can feel it." And I said, "Well, you know, maybe your eyes will be open." And he said, "Maybe God wants me blind. Maybe it's a blessing that I'm blind." And I didn't want to say, "Well, in here, um, you
Yeah.
know,
In
at
this
least you're
case,
not."
yes,
In this
probably.
case,
Yeah.
yeah, but I didn't say that. But he could
Yeah.
feel it. He could feel the. I'm sure he's had a lot
Mm.
of people praying for
Wow.
him. And we did have a lot of people. Thank you for all the prayers and the support. And I'm not even joking. It's like we could not do this stuff. And if we didn't have people who came around, who sewed in, who said, we are with you. We are praying for you. We are literally linking arms with you and watching to see God do this. Because if we're there and God pours out his spirit in great measure or unlimited measure, we're going to watch the greatest revival. I mean, it's not just revival. It's a whole new um, awakening and transformation that we've ever probably seen anywhere. And you know, this is we know that the sex industry fuels sex trafficking, right? So it's almost like God's going after all things that have been so destructive, especially for the children, especially for the kids. And and I think there's someone who's planning on writing a small little book to give to people who have kids, that has to do with, you know, how God made them
Mm.
and what they're made for, and it be truth and not some phony baloney junk, you know, that somebody just blew up. And
Mm.
so we're coming up with ideas. Oh, I know what it was. I was going to say, I got this idea from this other group, and they have
Oh
a
yeah.
box. They have a box, and she said that they have index cards by the box, and it says, if God was real. So they don't say God is real. They said, if God is real, what would you want to say to him? In
Hmm.
other words, write it on the index card and put it in the box, and don't sign it. So I thought we're going to probably improvise. We're going to implement that into our stuff next year. You know, like if the creator is real, then what would you want to say to him? You know, and then see where it goes. They may say, well, of course he's real.
Well, some of those
Or,
people, some of it's gonna be hard to read, I'm sure, like heartbreaking.
yeah, but that's when you find out,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
what really goes down deep into their heart and what they're really feeling. I mean, it's like a new level every time we go in. I mean, that's all I can say.
Well, it's got to be so unpredictable too. Like, you could be like, well, we've been here before, but
Yeah. hmm It is
yeah.
unpredictable, but we don't have the pushback. I didn't feel any pushback this year. Like from people, I've had people say to me one year, I don't know, at some vendor booth or something. I don't know what I was doing. And this man turned around to me, and I had on my thing, you know, and I'm just walking around. I don't think we had a booth that year. And he goes, well, you're not supposed to be here. And I said, well, neither are you.
Hmm.
What are you doing in here? And I
Mhm.
said, I bought my badge. I can be in here. And it was very strange, like
Yeah.
unusually
Was he
strange.
just another, like, he wasn't like a convention worker? Was he actually like a vendor person or something?
I think so, or he was at least at that vendor booth at that time.
Yeah.
But I thought, how unusual. What a
Yeah.
weird statement to come out of somebody's mouth.
Well,
I
it
mean,
makes you wonder if maybe a demon that he's it was a demon talking and not him, you know?
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, well, neither are you. I just went right back at him, and I think that's how you're gonna get you're not gonna get a soft turning moment for the people that are pimping out these girls.
Hmm.
They're not gonna do that there.
Right.
They might do that at some point if when they get a visitation from God in a dream and they get so scared or it shakes them to the core, like Nebuchadnezzar, like Pharaoh, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And it shakes them to the core, and now they're like, "Oh my gosh, what do I do?" But in the environment itself, they're not gonna do that. We're not there to seal the deal. We can't really do that there. I mean, we can, but it'd have to be that's it. In other words, they're going to pack their stuff up at that moment and get out because they can't be around the environment. Because if the house is clean and they're saved now and they've received Jesus, they need to get out of the environment and we seal them up, and tell them about God and whatever we need to say about Jesus, and then they need to get out of the environment. They can't hang around in there because if the house is clean, Satan by law can bring 7 more, and I'm not willing to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen. So we're giving them as much as we can, and they know where we're coming from. And a lot of people said, like the guy passed by, those women right there, they're doing the Lord's work.
Hmm.
That's what he said. And I thought, well, he knew we didn't say anything about that.
Hmm.
We don't have that plastered anywhere.
Right. Yeah.
But
We actually have a couple of videos to show. You guys are still rolling them out. Like you were saying, you guys got back yesterday or whenever it was.
I got back at 8 o'clock or 8:30 last night.
Yeah. So a lot of footage to go through. But we
Mm-hmm.
do have 2 videos of you doing interpretations of dreams, and then you have some random guy that gave you guys just like a shout out or something like that. So we'll play each of those. But the first one that I wanted to play was she looks like she's Hispanic. Her name is Ximena or something like that. And she had the dream about the whales.
Mm.
So I don't know if you want to set it up or you just want to play it and then we can talk about it.
Well, every year it's kind of interesting that she had a dream about whales because the last 3 years that I've gone to Vegas, I've had whale dreams myself.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that's interesting.
Yeah.
So when she said it, I thought, oh, it's not just me. And I took it from, usually it means wealth, or it has to do with in fact, I learned this later that when you have a dream about whales, it has to do with wealth, deep wealth,
Huh.
and that's what they call people in Vegas that are wealthy. They call them whales.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that
But
is
in
really
this case, I didn't go there with her. I just talked about it being exploring deep things that are not surface
Yeah.
level. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went through and there's a couple of things that I blurred out. Everything that's left is nothing you wouldn't see at the beach. And that was my mode, or at the
Good
swimming
for
pool.
you.
So that
That's
was my
good.
approach. So if anybody gets squeamish about seeing someone who looks like they're sort of in a bathing suit, get
You'd
over
see
it.
that at the beach or the
Yeah, but get over it.
Yeah.
So all right. So Eric, go ahead and play that first video.
What's your dream?
My dream is, so I have this recurring dream. I love whales. Okay, so I always dream I feel like I have a full life with whales because it's so recurring. And I'm always like in a little boat and I swim with the whales and everything. But a couple of days ago, I dreamt they actually like jumped on me and what's the word? Squashed me.
Yeah.
In the water.
Yeah.
But it was kind of scary, and I'm never scared of whales. And then I had another one around the same day, so an octopus that like was trying to trap me. And it was scary, and I'm never scared of sea creatures, so it was weird.
Well, usually whales represent something in the deep, something below the surface. So you have an interest in exploring spiritually deep things. And usually when you're playing around with it, in a good way, okay? So you're seeing things that are not surface level. You're way down here. The whales represent almost like an authority, okay? They're an authority of a fish.
Yeah.
They're kind of like the biggest one. And I felt like you said that this one jumped on you and pulled you under, and then you thought an octopus was going to come and try and wrap his tentacles around you. I feel like what's happening is you're in a spiritual shift, in a transition. So the things that you've been playing with are going to begin to, you're going to have the ability to get away or to pull out before you're pulled down. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You're going to be able to get pulled out before you get pulled down, and you'll escape, and you won't have to be afraid of or worried about getting into the deep water, but you're in a whole new spiritual path, and you've never been on this one before. So it's going to take you in a really good way. Okay, so I mean, if you had it, when did you have it?
Last week.
Yeah. There's something up with the whales.
There is. I saw other people doing others.
Yeah. Whales and then tidal waves. Tidal wave dreams. But this one is personal for you. And I think you're going to escape something that would try and pull you into a dimension or to a place or something that you're not meant to go. And I wonder, because you were playing with the whale and because they are authority, if it didn't push you down in order to keep you from being wrapped up in something that you're not meant to be subject to. It was almost protection. Instead of being afraid.
Yeah.
It was almost like, no, we know each other. We've been playing. I'm going to push you down, and it may look like I'm doing something wrong to you, but I'm going to protect you from anything else getting its grip on you.
I like that better.
You've had it since you were little.
It's the whale.
You've had this, no, not just a whale dream. You've just had a special ability since you were little to be able to see things and know things. You don't play on a surface level. You go deep.
It's because I'm a Pisces.
Huh?
It's because I'm a Pisces.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but yeah. I mean, and I think you're gonna, I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see where this is gonna go. How long are you gonna be here? Through the whole thing?
Yeah.
Stop back by and tell me if you have another dream tonight.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask for you to have a dream tonight.
Nice. Did she ever come back or no?
She did.
Oh, nice.
She came back, and then she brought 2 or 3 different people with her. I think she came back maybe 2 more days.
No. That's cool.
And I think, that kind of thing, you could see her pondering. I was like pondering too. I was trying like, oh, okay, what does that mean? And then I thought, well, they've been playing, so she's familiar with this. And I do think that the whales are like the king of the sea, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're like bigger than any other mammal or fish. And I think that I just felt like it was pushing her down. She said it was pushing her down, and it had never done that. But the next night she had a dream of an octopus trying to get its tentacles wrapped around her. And I thought, then I kind of flashed back on it for a second, and I thought, oh, it's probably protecting you. In other words, we know each other. We're friends. We've been playing together for a while.
Yeah.
So,
I actually felt the Lord on that. Like when you said, oh, actually, it could be that it was actually trying to protect you from something. Yeah. That's super cool. The thing that I've noticed you do numerous times, Cindy, is always and I see people's countenance shift where they can come in with very distraught over a dream. But the way that the Lord has you interpret it to them, it's always like you're always instilling hope into them rather than like, yeah, it's just interesting seeing some people distraught when they tell you the dream and they end very lifted up, like their countenance completely shifts. And I wanted you to explain why you do that, because you've explained it in the past why you do that, but why don't you explain that again? Okay, she was unnaturally quiet. Okay, Cindy is not known to be quiet, so I was like, so we'll wait for her to pop in here. But that is something that she does, where people will give dreams, and we even did like a live dream interpretation a couple of years ago. And there was one, young woman in particular. She's a young mom. She had a dream and she was really distraught over it, like tearing up and everything. And Cindy prophesied to her and gave her that interpretation. And you saw her countenance like completely shift, that it actually wasn't what she thought it was. And I think that's one of the cool things. That's why, like, partnering with the Holy Spirit when we do interpret dreams, because I see a lot of people where they interpret a dream and it is they take it very literally. And I mean, yeah, sometimes there are dreams that are literal, but sometimes not. A lot of times not. And so, we see this a lot in the Bible too. So, all right, well, Cindy, I don't know if her computer died or something. So, let's go ahead and show the people. It's time to tell you guys that I am in fact Batman. For those who are listening, Eric put up a Batman overlay of his cowl, and then I put my face underneath it. Eric, why don't we go ahead and play video number 2? So this is another woman named Lola that Cindy met in front of their booth. And so in this one, you'll get to see kind of a little bit more of a layout of like a hallway down the way. You can see just like how much of an intersection it actually was. And you'll see a lot of foot traffic around them as well. So Eric, why don't you go and play that second
All
video?
right, very, very lucid dreamer.
All right, tell me one that you can forget.
It's the one in the garage where I'm being chased. I've had a recurring dream since I'm 8 years old. And there is a blonde, blue-eyed, white little boy. He's so sweet. He's in the corner of the garage, and I'm bringing in my bike. But he never says anything. I've had that dream since I was 8 years old. I do not know what it means.
Wow. And it's like a regular garage, not like a parking garage,
It's
right?
a regular garage.
Yeah. It has to do with stored things. Usually garages are where we put things that we're not using right away, or something that's parked, it's not moving, right? And so this little boy, you said you've had it since you were 8 years old or something like that. I think this little boy represents someone who is the next generation. Our generation is growing with you. And it has blue eyes, so that tells me it's able to see something in the spirit. And it sees you, and I think it's probably growing with you. And I believe that it's a spiritual destiny for you. It's something that's getting ready to be, you're going to come out of the garage. You're not going to be stuck in the garage. You're not going to be tormented there or scared anymore. You'll be able to come out, get on the path and on the road that you're meant to be on. Right?
Yes, I'm feeling you. I know. We're here. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's time to come out of the garage.
Yeah, you're coming out of the
ready.
garage. I know you are. And you've been in there too long, and you've been there now to where you're like, you know what? It's a whole new season for me.
Literally.
It's a whole new place for me. It's a whole new identity and purpose, and everything that I need is going to be available when I get off of this stuck place.
Exactly.
And move in to what you're made for.
Yes. I'm trying my best.
It's right now.
Oh my gosh.
It's right now. You're on it right now.
Oh, I feel it.
What's your name?
My name is Lola.
Laura?
Lola.
Lola.
Yes.
Her name was Lola, right? So I want to just say, I think that what you're going to see happen is going to be very accelerated. It's going to be very quick. Once you get out of park, once you get out of the garage, once you get out of that place, it's going to all open up for you, and it's going to show you whole new horizons and adventures that you've never seen or had before. And I believe that there's a spiritual connection that you're going to have that you've never known was so strong.
I know it's going to be so strong. I'm so ready.
Yeah,
I've been feeling it lately, and there's been signs, and I haven't really addressed it, but I feel like for once, I'm really on the right path.
Yeah.
For once.
Well, the way is going to show you the way. And the truth is going to show you the truth. And the life is going to breathe life into you and satisfy all your dead, dry, and scorched places that you haven't been able to access. Wherever you've been shut down. Yeah?
I'm ready to get out of there.
Can I put my hand on your heart?
Absolutely.
All right. I'm going to ask for life to flow into you. You've got the key to open the door to the next season. You've got this. It looks like a compass.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. You're going to have direction. You're going to be able to feel the presence. I'm going to call him God. You're going to feel the presence of God. Arms wrapped around you. No shame, no guilt, no pain. Right?
I need it.
I know you do.
I need it.
I know you do. Never going to be the same. It's going to be a whole new life for you.
I'm so ready. I deserve it. I've been burned out.
I know.
And I'm just ready to let it go.
Well, let it go. Get a pen and just write it up there. Look at that. Let it pour it out. Let it go.
What?
Whatever it
That's
is.
so crazy. Your wall is working.
I know.
That girl was locked in, dude. She was ready. Another layer that I noticed when I was listening to her tell the dream is she was bringing in her bike into the garage, and Cindy was saying that, you know, garage is where stored things go, but a bike also, especially as it pertains to kids, that's in a lot of ways your freedom, you know, because you can't drive, but you're like, this is that we can go wherever we want on our bikes. And she was actually bringing her freedom into a stored place. And so you saw, as like Cindy was interacting with her, it's like starting to realize, you know, she's like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. So super, super cool. I've been told that Cindy is restarting her computer to try and come back in. We don't know what happened, but you know, these things happen from time to time and we just roll with them. We also have a quick little testimony. It was some random guy that was walking by who gave a quick 20 something second thing. So Eric, when are you going to play that?
Okay.
John to John.
Hey guys, I'm here at APN Las Vegas, and I am the Freedom Lounge Dream Interpretation. Wow, guys, I came here yesterday, and I can say this was a breath of fresh air. Probably the best booth, unexpectedly, that I kind of fell into. The ladies that hugged me and really gave me love, kind of gave me something that stayed with me on my way home. So this is an amazing booth. If you have a chance and you're in Vegas, please stop by Freedom Lounge. God bless.
Boom, just some random dude that was walking by. I guess someone who was engaging in the whatever there. I was gonna say festivities, but it's not festivities. And here's Cindy right now. Hey, Cindy.
I don't know what happened. You know how it is.
Okay. Well, I bought you some time. It's okay.
Oh, good.
So I did a little tap dance, and you know. We just showed the video of Lola.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to explain a little bit more, because she seemed to be really locked in with you, really resonating with you. So
yeah, she did actually, and she's the one that wrote something on the wall like, "I don't know where home is."
Wow.
And that just spoke really strongly to us. Like, most people probably feel like that. I don't know where home is. And so, you know, people were strategizing like later on, because when you hear their dream and you hear or see statements like that, or you know, then we all come back and go, well, we need to create, in other words, the face of the church is changing. Okay. And so all these big mega churches and all this kind of stuff, people don't feel home there. I mean, some do, but people like this coming out of this kind of arena and they're scared and they're broken and they don't know what to do and they don't know where to go. They're like, I don't know where home is. I don't even know where to go with that. I don't even know where would I go? Like where can I go to get help or to get fed or to understand or whatever. So that's when I think she did stop back by. I got her the first time and I think she came back by because someone told me that she did. And they said, be sure and follow us on this Instagram and then you can send us a message and we can walk with you through, you know, change or getting reconnected to a different life. So I think, that's kind of where we went with it. And so, yeah, she was very, I mean, that she's the one that kept saying, I need this.
Yeah.
I've got to have this. I need this. And she could feel the presence of God. She just did. And so it was so encouraging, because it then lets us know, okay, we're not just taking up space, like there's a real presence. And I just think if God's for us, who can be against us, right?
Right.
And so then we've got the ability, I mean, we just get a hold of him and then he does the rest. And that's what I want. I don't want to be the one to say, oh, I have to use my persuasive words or anything like that to try and get you to understand or to know about God or about Jesus or any of that. I don't need to do that because I want him to get a hold of you and let you know. And again, we're having to work very carefully in an arena like that, because if we go off and go God crazy or Jesus crazy with our language, we might lose the favor that we have because we're not pushy. We're not pushy.
Well, it does seem like with this kind of a setup, you guys have played the long game with it, where you've shown yourselves trustworthy. And I think this year, I mean, yeah, serious long game. Because I think it seems like this is like one of the first years or the first year where you really feel like that favor was noticeable and people's reception to you was more positive than in years past.
It was. It really was. I mean, and like I said, it was kind of weird. It was almost like God dropped it in my heart and said, don't just go with hope, go with expectation. And I did. I was like, I'm expecting something brand new. And I feel, in fact, that's when we started getting all these new ideas. And we thought, well, next year, we're going to do a live podcast from this place. And we'll have cameras facing us against the wall, right, with our banners so that they won't have to see all the other stuff. But we'll be able to interpret their dreams. We'll be able to give them a word. We'll be able to take turns. All of our team can take turns doing a podcast, doing a section of the podcast. And everyone had a different experience. All of our team members had a different experience, and they had a different thing that dropped into them that was just uniquely them. See, it does two things. It brings people into a realization that there is a God who does love them very, very much. And then it also grows you on the inside. So now you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this is what Jesus did. He was always hugging broken, dirty people, always. He was always loving on people that didn't think they deserved it, or they wanted to run away, or they were being accused. And in one case of the woman caught in adultery, she thought she was be stoned and killed. So, it's almost like you get addicted to, oh my gosh, I'm not just sitting in church. I'm not just sitting there. I'm not just hanging out, I've actually got, there is something going on, and I'm growing and I'm seeing and I'm learning and I'm getting new footing everywhere I go. And then you become unafraid of whatever you might see coming your direction. And I think that's going to be the face of the changing face of the church. Because we're going to be loving and accepting people that are from all different backgrounds, all different walks, all different where they've they've gotten themselves. Someone was telling me they went and did some outreach on the streets. I think it was, no, it was in Vegas. It was at a yogurt shop or something. And they were just getting yogurt actually. And they looked over and all these people started coming out of the alleys and they were all bent over. And it was called Trank. And it was fentanyl and something else, tranquilizers or something. And they were all bent over and it almost looked
Wow.
like zombies. And they were like, oh gosh, we better get out of here. But they were observing how this particular drug, they just go from one drug to another, whatever numbs them out, whatever makes them, and then they get addicted, that whole thing. And then, but this one was a body deforming type of a drug. So I'd never heard of it. And I thought, okay, well, we need to learn. We need to learn what that is. And we need to know when people have had that, taken that drug or they've done that thing. Okay, so what do we do? How do we handle this? And I believe that supernatural power is going to be so available to us in the days to come. I mean, my gosh, we had a guy with us who deals specifically with and teaches us how to deal with people who've been in satanic ritual abuse. And so I'm like, we're able to learn so much from his own experience of dealing with so many people that have splintered off and they've got so many personalities and they can't face reality on any level because they've been so beat up, emotionally. And that's why we did trauma enema. It's like, just rid yourself. Like it's a supernatural. I know it's a funny word, but that's what it is. It's like, get rid of your trauma.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of your trauma and get you into a place where you can be whole and be made whole again. And it reminds me of, the man at the pool of Bethesda when Jesus had to ask him, do you want to be made whole? I mean, you're right there. It's like, do you want this? Do you want this? And the girl, what you just saw with Lola, she says, I want this. I need this. I'm ready. And so I don't know. I think we're seeing a big major change and it's good. It's not bad at all. It's quite different than the past years. And again, I haven't seen all the video because we had 2 or 3 different cameras going on different people at different times. So I don't even know what else there is because all of our team, they all have different encounters and I'm hoping we can bring some of that up and let people see, here's that team, this person, that person,
Well, and you guys also had like people at the booth, but then you also had people who were roaming around. Did you have cameras with them, a camera with them at all?
Yeah, we did. A couple times. Yeah, we did.
Okay.
And so, I don't know what went on out there. I mean, we know what went on at the booth and so far, but I mean, there's just lots of video that's being dumped into one big computer. So we have to work through it. And then, like you said, we have to blur certain things out,
That takes time.
It takes time. And you just got back. So anyway.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more footage, I think.
Oh yeah.
Super cool.
It was it's just such, I know it's a noticeable difference from the years past. So I feel like it's almost like, hey, you've been faithful with little, I'm going to give you more. That's kind of how it was,
Well, yeah. And also too, Cindy, like, you mentioned you guys are doing the summer solstice thing. And there's a lot of, because we do Testimony Tuesday every Tuesday here, and that we've interviewed a lot of ex-New Agers, a lot of ex-witches and stuff. And God is really that whatever counterfeit Satan has presented, it's starting to wax and wane on those people. And so they're encountering the real, they're encountering, the presence of Jesus. And
even the girl that I did the dream for who had the nightmares, she goes, oh my gosh, the tarot card reader almost said the same thing you did. And I said, well, I'm not a tarot card reader. And she goes, well, you're a really great psychic. And I said, I'm not a psychic. And I said, I listened to the one who made you, the creator of the universe, not the universe. I'm listening to the creator of the universe. And I said, I'm a follower of Jesus. So that's where I listen. That's where my information, that's where all of my understanding comes from, you know. And she didn't budge. She didn't flinch. She was
Well,
okay with it.
and also you, I mean, like we said earlier, it always seems like you let them kind of offer that, or like you kind of fish that out of you. It's not like
Yeah.
you're like, hey, I love Jesus. And, they're like, bye. My dad was a pastor. I'm out of here, like.
Yeah. And they will.
Yeah.
They
Well,
will
'cause
say that.
you've encountered some PKs before. I remember last year, I think you played an encounter with somebody and they were a PK. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure. So
Preacher's kid.
yeah.
Yeah, it's true. And they'll the guy that was next door to us that had bought pulpits off of Amazon, and he was doing something that he knew was wrong. I mean, and when I said, "Oh, you have a message, so you're going to take a whole new approach to your voice, right?" And he goes, "No, and then he said something really gross, and I went, "Oh, okay, well, what's your name?" And he said Matthew, and I went, "Okay, whatever." Whatever, dude. It's like he
Only a
wasn't
matter of
ready.
time.
Yeah, I didn't play into it.
Yeah.
I didn't play into his hand. And when they're passive aggressive like that, I'm like, just go do you. But he kept snooping around our booth too, to he knew kind of what we were and what we were doing.
Mhm.
And even people that he had, because they were into trans and the whole thing. And of course, my favorite thing is, oh my gosh, me too. I'm transformed. It's the highest level of trans. I mean, my gosh. And then they're like, what? Um, so he was snooping around. I mean, we had those things, and it was way cool. I think this was probably my best year in a long time,
Yeah.
where I didn't feel like I was swimming in mud.
Mhm.
I felt like we had a lot of grace, and like I said, I mean, people were praying, and boy, thank God.
Yeah.
They were, and we were praying for protection over our families and over vehicles and over, and then all the fires had been happening down in California. And I was just like, I mean, it just grips your heart when you see all the devastation that's happened. Um, with the Florida hurricane, with Asheville and Chimney Rock and all that, and then uh, uh,
The
the
Palisades.
Maui, Palisades and Maui. And you're just thinking, is it land grab? Is that what this is, or
Mhm.
what is this? Why was there no water in the hydrants? And people were just sobbing, and they weren't just these are not just all movie stars, right?
Mhm.
These are regular people who built their
Right.
whole lives, and they
Right.
raised their families there.
Yeah, who literally can't afford to even rebuild, and there's a lot of
They
people that are like, oh,
can't.
boohoo, rich people. I'm like, oh, like not all of them. Like some of these people
No,
were there for a long time.
long time, and they had their kids and raised their kids there,
Yeah,
and they
multiple
knew each other,
generations.
neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I had to kind of think about that. A lot of the agencies that come to this event in Vegas are from LA. So I wasn't sure, were any of these people, or their families, were they affected, or that kind of deal.
Yeah.
I know that you can kind of tell when they're not performing, or they're not posing, or they're not, whatever. They're just, their heads are down at their booth. They're just sorting through stuff. You can tell they're just kind of down. Like
Mhm.
they're just not there. And then someone will walk up and they perk right up, and they just have to be
Yeah.
on.
They have to
And
be on. Yeah, and
mhm.
it's not exactly the most life-giving, it's like a leechy type of
It
a
feels like they're taking a piece of
industry.
your soul.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
That's what it
because
feels like. I'm sure it does for them. They're like, they're taking a piece of my soul. I've already gotten myself into this mess. And now they're just, here these men are that have been watching me, and now I'm seeing them face to face, and this
Mhm.
is what I'm doing. This is what I'm
Mhm.
performing for. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm sure that they have to shove that stuff out of their mind just to get through the week,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's rough.
Yeah. So I actually just want to just really quick, because it popped into my head. I want to direct some people. If there's any guys watching and you are struggling with pornography, I want to direct you towards a great resource. It's a friend of mine. His name is Christian Lenti. He actually resides in Bangkok, but he started something called the MST Project. And it started with him. If you haven't checked out an episode, I strongly encourage you to. But he has resources. If you are struggling with this, you don't have to go it alone. It's a great resource and it's free. And so I really want to direct you to that. So go check that out. His name is Christian Lenti. Please go check that out if you need help. Anyway, sorry, Cindy.
No, I'll check it out too.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Because you know we're dealing with people who watch it or they're addicted and they can't get out, and it's like a slippery slope. You know, it's like, well, I started and then I started getting into it and now I'm into it, and you can feel that they're just like there's just this. It's like, you know, something really dark and deep is just in there, just appetite, you know, just can't get enough. But there is deliverance for that, you know.
Yeah, straight up. Well, and this guy in particular, Christian, he started it by going into red light districts because he's American, but he lives in Bangkok. And he actually started going into the red light districts and ministering to the men that were there to engage with prostitutes. And often the guys that get ridiculed and criticized and all that stuff, God had him come from that angle. And then his ministry has grown and developed.
Wonderful.
More than just that. So that's great. Super cool.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long ride, and I'm glad to see that it's turning. And I was so thankful. So many people were so open, and they came back time and time again. And I mean, our booth was pretty much busy the whole time. I mean, I don't think every time I showed up, just from wandering around or wherever I went, you know, I showed up and there were so many people there. They were like trying to get to the wheel, or they wanted to see get some oil. We had little necklaces with oil in them, you know, and they wanted to have a healing oil treatment, or they wanted to share their heart or whatever, and then write on the wall. And so I was just really pleased. I think this was one of my favorite years.
Well, I can see, I mean, I can tell. It's just it hit different than years past.
Yeah, it did.
So I guess obviously it's only January, and we've got a whole year ahead of us. But do you have any? I guess you're always. I always like to have you on to share a little bit about like, hey, this is what I really feel like the Lord is on right now. And I don't know if there was anything that was informed. Any of that was informed by your interactions today, or not today, but last week at that convention. But I'm just curious if you have any insights into kind of where we should be setting our sights in 2025.
Well, we should be setting our sights on the fact that people are looking for a home. That's what she said. I don't know where home is. So we're going to have a lot of people that are going to be impacted by the power of God this year. And they're going to give their lives over, just like happened to us back in the 70s. You know, it was a literal transformation. One moment we were in darkness, the next moment we were in light, and we never went back. And all of our addictions were gone, right? But we were still broken people, and we needed to have help to know what to do. And so I believe that there's going to have to be churches that are really down to earth. No more performance. And I remember one pastor, he was talking about the abortion issue and about stuff like that. And he had been doing some study on all the things, you know, and how it got started and kind of the spirit behind it, right? And all of this. And he said he'd gone to church, or he went to a church, and the Lord spoke to him, like yelled it at him. And the words were, stop the show, stop the show, stop the show. And I thought, that's where we're at. It's now time to stop the show. Whatever we're doing, whatever kind of persuasive things, whatever manipulation, whatever kind of performance, whatever kind of thing we're doing in order to get people to attend or to give or to whatever, stop the show. We are going this year to have to be able to know how to handle people that have been on trank, that are zombie looking. We're going to have to learn to handle people who come out of sex addiction and have come out of this. and I'm ready. I'm ready. I don't know where to go. Where is home? Where can I find safety? Where can I find a safe place? We're going to handle people who have been, um, imprisoned, or they have been trashed by their family. They're no longer welcome for whatever reason. It's also a year to focus on the family. Families are coming back together, and it seems like God's saying, I want you to focus on your family and be able to heal your family and put away your differences and all your stuff that you've all these trips up places, where people have separated for one reason or another.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be some pretty high profile people that are going to be brought back in to the kingdom radically. It's almost as if there's going to be a reach into that performance area, and they're going to be brought back in to reality, and all of this nonsense is going to go away, and it's unsatisfying for them anymore. It was fun for a while, which always is the case. Sin for a while, for a season, is fun, but it comes to a time when there's no more fun. It's not fun anymore.
Yep.
So I think that's where we're headed. I believe it's the beginning of it. I think that we're going to see a lot of people coming out of darkness, and they're going to be looking for people that will just shut up, people like us that'll just shut up and listen. Just shut up and listen and let God talk, and let him just be a sounding board where they can pour out their heart, and they're not going to be judged. They're not going to be given scriptures in response of how to change or what to do. It's almost like just let them talk. That's what I think. I do. I think they're going to be just shut up and just let them talk and let them get it out. And then you'll find a safe place. And I think God will knit their heart together with yours. And then they'll come back. And it may take, it's a process. We have not honored the process very much. And I believe that's what's going to happen now.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like we don't really have a choice. I mean,
Yeah,
you do, but if you want to be about the Lord's business, we don't really have, I wrote that down. Shut up and listen. I wrote it down, Cindy. I'm going to put on my Post-it. I'm going to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's true though, because they don't have anybody listening to them, and they're screaming. They're literally screaming. They're crying for help, and they've got no one. Everybody's got an answer or an agenda, or they've got something that they think, well, do this or do that, and it's unsolicited advice. They didn't ask for it. We're just giving it out because that's what we think we should do. But that's not always what they need. So,
right.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, Cindy, I am, like I said, I'm really excited to hear more testimonies from this and more videos of your interactions with people and your team's interactions with people. I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's gonna be great. And I would imagine people can see that on Instagram, Facebook, wherever.
Yeah. And we'll have it on the website too. We'll
Awesome.
have it all chopped up and put it out, here and there and there and there.
Yeah.
And also I have a YouTube channel. So, you can go back and watch all the different, sometimes I go on a rant. I really kind of like the podcast thing because I don't really care. I just like, okay, here's what I think.
Yeah. That's what podcasts are for.
Right. And so, and people are like, yes, or, oh my gosh, or, whatever.
Yeah.
But
I can't believe you just said that. Yeah.
But the one thing is, I mean, come on, I've been out there for a long time into the deep and dark. I've been out in places where the church just isn't there. They have no grid or understanding about what other people are going through. They don't even get it, and the church doesn't, because we're on Planet Christian. They have no idea about Planet Porn. They don't know anything about it. And I didn't either. So, but I just think that we're going to have to get, we're going to get over ourselves. Just get over yourself and be a person that God can live through you, and let people come and just pour out their heart and let them tell you about their life. Let them tell you about their story. Let them tell you, because if they find a safe place, they will. And then if they will start asking you questions, and you just answer the question, that way it's always safe, and you're not crossing boundaries and jumping over, certain things. And that's the most effective way, I think, just to be a friend of them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about being a friend, you're not going to go be telling your friend everything. Now, this is what you should do, and this is what, otherwise you're mothering or you're helicopter parenting or whatever. And I'm guilty of it.
I think we all are.
I mean, but I think we're just going to have to really accept some really dirty people in this coming time. I think they're ready. I think she said it. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay. So we want you to have a safe place to land, and we want you to know where home is for you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Well, prodigals too.
Yeah. Well, Cindy, I would love for you to pray for, I guess, all of us as we're embarking, we're still in January. So it's still technically the start of the year. So
January.
January. Yeah, nice.
January.
There it is. January, everybody. You heard it here. Cindy McGill.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love for you to pray for all of us, just to really, I guess, take what you said to heart and really ask the Lord for those open doors and opportunities, and to have the self-control to shush and listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lord, I just thank you for wisdom. You said that if any man asks for wisdom, you give to them liberally, God, and you don't withhold. And God, I just ask you for wisdom for us for this coming year and for the coming days. I ask that you would continue to form and shape us in our hearts to receive the people that you're sending our direction, and that people that are really genuinely looking for help. I pray that you would help us to be open to change and shift and new things, and to put down old things and to leave old things behind and not feel like we have to keep operating in them and expecting a different result. And so, and I ask you, God, that you would just cover, you would be the shame taker, even in this interview. You would be the shame taker. Everybody's fallen into something at some time, and we know that you take our shame, and you take our pain, and you take all the junk that came along with it, and all the mistakes and everything that we've done, and we've tried and possibly just failed, and now you're giving us new opportunities in this new year. So I just thank you for that. I thank you that you're removing fear from us so that we can go out into the highways and byways and compel people to come in. And you're going to give us words and strategies, but you're also going to teach us how to stand back and just watch and just listen. And I thank you, God, for that. I thank you for the healing of families and the healing when the prodigals come home, that we would not be like the elder brother, but we'd be like the father who sets out a whole feast and rejoices that he came back at all. I thank you, God, for rescuing people out of the grips of hell. Just like the whale dream, that the whale pushed the girl down and kept her from being wrapped up by an octopus that was going to take her and wrap her in something that wasn't meant for her. So I just thank you for that, God. I thank you, Lord, for your goodness. I thank you for revival and refreshing for all of and everyone who's been through such difficult and hard times. And we're just in full expectancy of some amazing God moments. I also want to ask you to awaken our dream life and show us things to come before they ever happen.
Yes.
So that we have an understanding of what to do and how to prepare. We've been hearing the word prepare, but we don't know what for. It's like, so we're asking you to give us specifics on how to prepare and what to do. So, and thank you for Elijah Fire and Elijah Streams, and for the vehicle of this podcast and this, this wonderful, you're just so open to receive and have so many testimonies on here that help so many people. I just thank you for them. God bless all of their efforts. Right. That's it. I think that's all the prayer I've got right now, because I'm tired.
Amen. Amen. All right. So everybody, please go to cindymcgill.org. A lot of great resources there. Cindy McGill official Instagram, and then we've also got her Facebook as well. She's going to be updating with all kinds of great testimonials, videos from this trip. So this will be rolling out, I'm sure, in the next several weeks. So
yeah.
please
And
go.
thank you to those who helped us go.
Yeah.
You know, because we couldn't do it. And we've got other stuff coming up too. So we always try to get video and let you see what we're doing, and training. You know, we're going to do training and launching at the same time. So this year.
So everybody stay tuned and follow Cindy at her various locales to stay up to date with all of that.
That's
so
right.
Cindy, thank you so much. We love
Thank you.
It's just great. Awesome. You're doing great. Always doing great. Well done.
Yeah. No more lost connections.
Yeah, no more lost connections.
Yeah.
In Jesus' name.
I know.
Yeah. So everybody, that's our show. Have a blessed rest of your Monday. Tomorrow's Testimony Tuesday. We've got Jesse Williams on, and he was a delight. The second he came in, he lit up he's just one of those guys that lights up the room. So really, really great time. We loved having him on. So that's tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time. We love you so much, and we'll see you then. Okay, bye.